Right. So welcome, everyone, to this deep dive. We're going a little deeper today into wedding dress shopping.
Yeah.
But with a twist,
Mm-hmm.
we're looking at an article
Mm-hmm.
focusing on brides with mobility issues,
Interesting.
which I think is like such a great topic. Because even if you're not getting married, anytime soon or ever,
Yeah.
this deep dive has some really cool insights about fashion and accessibility,
Yeah.
things that we can all apply to our own lives.
Yeah, absolutely. The article kind of like right away like challenges us to think beyond just the aesthetics of a wedding dress and actually think about the bride's needs,
Right.
and like how those needs can be met.
Yeah.
And it encourages us to ask questions, like will a tight dress, cause pain?
Right.
Could a heavy gown be too hot?
Mm-hmm.
And are there certain fabrics that might cause like sensory sensitivities?
Yeah, that's so interesting because I never really thought about the pain aspect of it.
Yeah.
But of course, like that makes total sense.
Yeah.
And then the article kind of goes on to talk about, some practical considerations
Yeah.
when it comes to actually going to a bridal salon.
Yeah.
Like, what do you do?
Mhm. Well, the article really stresses how important it is to make sure that salon is accessible, having ramps and enough space to move around comfortably.
Yeah.
It's all about making that bride feel comfortable and confident from the start.
Yeah. And they even talk about brides who use walkers or canes.
Right.
They suggest like trying on dresses over the head.
That makes sense.
Which is so smart. Instead of trying to like step into a dress.
Right.
It's like, oh, of course.
Yeah.
So then they get into fabrics,
Yeah.
which, you would think silks and satins
Yeah.
would be the go-to,
Yeah.
for a wedding gown.
Right. Right.
But they actually advise against that
They do. Why is that?
because they tend to be too restrictive.
Oh,
So they suggest looking for alternatives like perfecting satin,
perfecting satin.
which has a similar like luxurious feel,
Yeah.
but with more stretch for comfort.
Okay.
And then they also mentioned crepe and charmeuse.
Now, those are two fabrics that are so comfortable, lightweight.
Yes.
And you can find those in a ton of different styles.
Yes. Like so stylish.
Perfect for a wedding.
But I was thinking, like, are there any fabrics that they advise against?
Well, beading and lace, those are so popular and they are beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
But they can sometimes cause like skin irritation or discomfort.
Especially for someone with sensory sensitivity.
Exactly.
That could really like ruin the day.
Yeah.
So what do they say you should do if you really want like the lace?
Well, they have a couple suggestions. They said you can try to look for, different types of lace or ask if the seamstress can line certain areas of the dress
Okay, yeah.
to minimize that irritation.
Yeah, just to make it work.
Yeah, finding those solutions.
Yeah. Now I'm curious, how do you find a dress that is both stylish, like we're talking about all these beautiful fabrics, and you want it to be comfortable too?
Right.
And especially when you're, dealing with, mobility as a consideration.
Well, that's where silhouettes come in.
Okay.
They talk about how important it is to choose a silhouette that reflects, your vision for the day,
Right.
but also one that complements your body and lets you move freely.
So you don't have to sacrifice style for comfort.
No, not at all.
Are there like certain silhouettes that they recommend?
They talk about A-line dresses.
Okay.
They have a fitted bodice, and then they flow outward from the waist. It's a really flattering shape, and it's comfortable.
Okay.
They also mention empire waist gowns.
Uh-huh.
Those cinch right below the bust and then flow down nice and loose.
Oh, okay.
Giving you lots of room to move.
So you can dance.
Yes, exactly. And, they also talk about using detachable elements like overskirts or trains
Oh, that's a good idea.
to give you a more versatile look.
So you can have that like grand entrance, like with a big train, and then when it's time to dance, you just attach it.
Exactly. It's all about having options.
Yeah.
Creating a look that'll work for you all day long.
Love it. And, we can't forget about accessories.
Of course not.
Got to have that sparkle.
Yes. They talk about, veils, headbands, tiaras.
Right. All the classics.
Yeah, the usual suspects.
Yeah.
But they do caution against really tight headbands,
Oh, yeah.
which can trigger headaches.
Oh, sure.
They recommend rhinestone barrettes instead.
That's good advice even if you're not a bride. I can't tell you how many times I've like had to ditch a headband because I was getting a headache.
Right. It's a little detail, but
Yeah.
it makes a big difference.
Huge.
as far as comfort. They also say that you should try any headpiece on beforehand.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Make sure it fits comfortably and securely.
So you're not like fidgeting with it on the big day.
Exactly.
So we've got the dress, we've got the accessories. Is there anything else we're like missing here?
They talk about modifications, dress modifications.
Oh, okay.
You know, they suggest replacing corset backs or buttons with zippers
Okay.
or snaps.
So it's easier to get dressed.
Exactly.
Oh, that's so smart. I never would have thought of that. It's like they really thought of everything, huh?
Yeah.
But are all of these tips like applicable to, every bride with mobility issues?
Yeah.
Or are there like specific things that...
Well, that's where the article gets even more specific.
Okay.
They provide tailored advice for different conditions.
Now I'm really intrigued.
Yeah.
Like what kind of advice are we talking about?
Well, for example, for brides who have myasthenia gravis,
Okay.
that's a condition that can cause muscle weakness and fatigue.
Right.
They recommend layering for temperature regulation
Yeah.
and also for energy conservation. Like they give the example of, adding a bolero jacket to a strapless gown.
Oh, okay.
So it's both stylish and practical.
Yeah, it's like having options, to kind of adapt the look.
Yeah.
Throughout the day,
Right.
which is really smart,
Yeah.
especially with, myasthenia gravis, where you have to like really think about, energy levels and all that.
Yeah, listening to your body and
Yeah.
making choices that prioritize your well-being.
Right. Without sacrificing the side.
Exactly.
And then to make sure all those choices come together perfectly, they wrap it all up by talking about the importance of...
Finding a skilled seamstress.
Yes.
That's like the key takeaway.
Yeah.
You need to find someone who understands the bride's needs
Right.
and can make those adjustments for a perfect, comfortable fit.
Yeah. It sounds like the seamstress can like make or break the dress, honestly.
Yeah.
It's all about those little details.
It really is. And this deep dive has just like made me realize something. It's like we need to think beyond the obvious.
Yeah.
We get so caught up in like the look of our clothes,
Yep.
especially for, special occasions like weddings. But, this article is reminding us that comfort and accessibility and individual needs are just as important.
Yeah, and it's making me rethink my own wardrobe, honestly. I'm like, now I'm going to be paying more attention to fabrics
Right.
and like fit and all that.
Yeah.
So it's like really interesting.
I think that's a great takeaway.
Yeah.
It's like we always prioritize style over comfort, but maybe there's a way to find a balance.
Yes,
You know?
that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So I wonder, are there other areas like where we could apply these principles
Oh, yeah.
of like, accessibility
Mm-hmm.
and individualization?
I think so. We've been talking about wedding dresses, but these ideas could extend to like all sorts of clothing and beyond.
Ooh, now I'm really intrigued.
Yeah.
Like, where do we go from here?
I mean, think about it. Prom dresses, evening wear, even everyday clothes could benefit from these principles.
Totally.
Inclusivity and adaptability. It's like we're talking about weddings,
Right.
but it's really about fashion as a whole,
Yeah, it's like taking this one specific thing
Mm-hmm.
and like blowing it up into like a whole new way of thinking about clothes, you know?
Exactly.
It's about recognizing that everyone deserves to feel good in what they're wearing,
Yes.
no matter their body or their abilities.
And it reminds me of
Yeah.
something we talked about a while back, like universal design. That idea that when you design for people with disabilities, it actually ends up benefiting everyone.
Yes. Like curb cuts.
Exactly.
They were designed for wheelchairs.
Yeah.
But now everyone uses them.
Strollers, delivery people,
Right.
people with luggage. It's great. It's so smart. Imagine applying that to fashion.
I know, right?
Yeah.
What if clothes were just like inherently adaptable,
Yeah.
comfortable, inclusive?
Yeah. Okay, now I'm really getting into this.
Yeah.
This is a deep dive I can get behind. But before we go too far, let's get back to the article.
Okay.
Was there anything else in there that like stood out to you?
What really struck me was how much they emphasized the emotional side of this.
Okay.
It's not just finding a dress that fits.
Right.
It's about finding a dress that makes you feel good.
Yeah.
Beautiful, confident.
It's your wedding day.
Exactly.
You want to feel amazing.
Yes. And they really stress working with someone who gets that,
Yeah.
a bridal consultant who understands your needs and can guide you through the process, with sensitivity and expertise.
Right. So it's more than just the dress. It's the whole experience.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, clothes can have such a huge impact on how we see ourselves,
Uh-huh.
you know?
How we feel in our bodies. And I think for brides with mobility issues
Yeah.
who may already face challenges in terms of how society sees them,
Right.
having that support, that understanding can make all the difference.
It's like creating a space where everyone feels welcome and
Yeah.
celebrated for who they are.
Exactly.
You know, this whole deep dive has been really eye-opening for me.
Yeah.
I never thought about all the different things that go into wedding dress shopping.
I know. It's amazing, right? It's
Yeah.
like a reminder that there's always more to learn, more perspectives,
Mm-hmm.
Even something familiar like clothing can have all these hidden things.
Totally. Okay, so we've talked about a lot.
We have.
What's like the big takeaway for you? What's the thing that you're going to remember from this?
For me, it's that inclusivity is more than just a word.
Yeah.
It's about doing it, It's about thinking about everyone's needs,
Yeah.
not just the majority, and finding creative solutions,
Hmm.
to make the world better, a more welcoming place. Yeah.
And that's not just about wedding dresses.
Right. It's bigger than that.
It is.
I love that. It's a call to action,
Yeah.
We can all do something.
We can.
This deep dive has been so inspiring.
I agree.
Hopefully our listener is feeling that too.
I hope so.
Uh,
I'm curious what's resonating most with you. What are you taking away from all of this?
What really stuck with me is this whole thing about adaptability,
Okay.
Whether it's a wedding dress or any other clothes, having options to make adjustments,
Yeah,
makes a huge difference.
it does.
It's about having choices, creating a look
Mm.
that's really,
That's such a good point. It challenges this idea that there's only one right way to dress.
right.
It's about individuality, It's about embracing our differences
Yes,
and celebrating, the beauty in each of us.
that's beautiful. And it's not even just about clothes, is it?
No.
It's this whole idea of
Yeah.
adaptability and celebrating who we are.
Mm-hmm.
It applies to everything. Think about like the spaces we're in, the things we use, the way we interact with each other.
Wow.
There's always room for more inclusivity, more adaptability.
I feel like I'm seeing the world in a whole new way.
Me too.
Okay. I could talk about this forever,
Uh-huh.
but I know we got to wrap it up.
Yeah, we do.
But maybe this is just the start,
I think so.
of a bigger conversation.
A shift in perspective
Yeah.
that can really affect every part of our lives.
I like that. It's like we're giving our listener a challenge,
We are.
Okay, listener, take these ideas about inclusivity, adaptability, individual needs,
Mm-hmm.
and use them in your own life.
Mm.
Think about how you can make the world more stylish,
Yes.
more inclusive.
Yes.
One outfit, one interaction at a time.
And don't be afraid to challenge things, to ask for what you need and to celebrate who you are.
Well said. Okay, before we go, I have one last question for
Yeah.
you. So this whole conversation has got me thinking, it's not just about the clothes, right? This whole idea of adaptability, thinking about what people need, it goes way beyond fashion.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah,
This
yeah.
deep dive, it's really shown us how we need to design things with everyone in mind, not just, what we think of as like the average person.
Right.
It's like we have to see diversity as a good thing, not a problem to solve.
It makes me think about architecture,
Yeah.
product design, public spaces,
Uh-huh.
How often do we make things that leave people out?
All the time. And I think it's
Yeah.
because we just don't think about it, We're not aware. We need to start thinking about access from the very beginning.
Right. Not like, oh, let's just add a ramp on later.
Exactly. It has to be part of the plan from the start.
That's a whole different way of looking at things.
It is. It means changing how we think about what's normal or what's good.
Yeah.
We need to broaden our ideas of beauty, of what works to include everybody.
So what does this mean for our listener? What can they actually do?
Well, first, we can all pay more attention to the barriers that exist,
Okay.
Just notice things like the places you go, the things you use, even the words you say, and ask yourself, is this inclusive? Could it be better?
I like that. It's about making that effort,
Yeah.
to see the world through different eyes.
Yes.
To think about what it's like for people who are different from us.
It is a practice, isn't it? Like we were saying.
It is. And don't be afraid to say something.
Right.
If you see a problem, point it out. Push for change.
We all have a part to play.
Yeah, and inclusivity is not just about disability, right?
No, not at all.
It's race, gender, body size, all of it.
Absolutely. It's about recognizing that we're all human
Yeah.
and celebrating the fact that we're all different.
This has been such a great deep dive.
It has.
I feel like we've just scratched the surface, but in a good way. you know?
Yeah, there's so much more to explore.
It gives us so much to think about and so many ways to make a difference.
Exactly. And who knows, maybe our listener will be the one to come up with the next big idea for inclusive design.
Ooh, I love that.
You never know where inspiration will come from.
So true. Okay, listener, that's it for this deep dive.
Thanks for joining us.
We hope you enjoyed it and that you're feeling inspired to go out there and make a change.
Keep asking questions, keep learning, and keep working towards a more inclusive world.
Beautifully said. And we'll see you next time.